As we move forward into 2025, we cannot afford to rest on our laurels. The evolving security landscape demands innovation and adaptability. We will prioritize strengthening cybersecurity, countering terrorism, enhancing community policing, and professionalizing the force. Our officers' welfare will remain at the forefront, ensuring that they have the tools, resources, and support needed to excel. As strategic managers, your leadership will be key to the success of these initiatives. The performance of the Nigerian police force in 2025 depends on your ability to equip officers with the skills, mindset, and tools necessary to meet emerging threats. Together, we will continue to transform the Nigerian police force into a modern, effective, and trusted institution.
30,000 plus arrested in 2024 by the police. Well, thank you for staying with us on Sunrise Daily. Our next conversation is one that indeed touches every Nigerian. Policing. From addressing the challenges of insecurity to the critical task of rebuilding public trust, the policing question remains high, both urgent and complex. But then, it's the police. Well, how about policing? Is there a difference between police and policing? That's one of the questions that that our guest this morning posed to me when we came in this morning. So please help me welcome Sheyi Adetaya, who is CEO of Eons Intelligence, a leading voice in intelligence and security strategy in the country. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ayo. Good morning.
First of all, I mean, what's the difference between police and policing?
Yeah, police is an agency responsible for maintaining law and order in the country.
Isn't their job policing?
Yeah, they are part of the policing mechanism.
Okay.
We are all responsible for policing the country, the people. It's not something that the police alone can do. When you say policing, it means that putting people in check. And there are different layers in the country that helps to put people in check. From the parent to the community leaders, to the traditional institutions, to other institutions within each community to ensure that the laws and order are maintained. Remember that the laws and orders are not only limited to the ones in the Constitution. Each community have their own basic, rules that they expect people living in that environment to follow, and going against it might actually probably put them at risk. So, and it is the aggregate of all these efforts that help us to have a well-policed nation. So we look at what the police is doing right now. They require the support from all the layers of our social strata to help in ensuring that they get their work done. So they need people to give them information. They need people to support them. They need even the community. There are areas where police can just go and make arrests, as it is in Nigeria. They need the support of the locals. And there are places where they actually need to tell the traditional institutions that we need to make arrests and we need your support. They themselves will go there, pick the person and hand them over to the police. Why? At times it could be the terrain. At times it could be the complexity, of that particular environment. So when you talk about policing generally, it involves each and every one of us.
Now, but that's not the way the Nigerian, sees it. And maybe this is education that every one of us needs.
And the more reason why we need to talk about.
Absolutely. So now we have an agency tasked with the responsibility of policing the nation. Now, as you said, and rightly so, a good number of times there's always been that call for people to support. But then there have also been times when people offered information and it blew back in their faces, particularly in really troubled areas in the country. When you say people should give information to the police, how are they insulated?
Well, we have to be honest with ourselves. So much has gone wrong with our police structure. And it's not what one IG can... we've seen successive IG try to do something about it, but the core of this decadence is so deep that a radical approach may be required. I would say some countries, attempting to do that. As it is today, we need a total overhaul. When I mean overhaul, I'm not saying remove everybody, but looking at every structure in the current Nigerian police agency right now as it is, and we'll try to weed out those that are having issues. And I had a conversation with someone, I think about 2 years ago, and I said, I think the best way we can go about this is, one, if we can start by reducing, taking out those who have had disciplinary issues, even though whether they were reprimanded or they were reduced in rank in the last 5 years, just ask them to go. That will create room for us to be able to inject new people into the system, where the training structure will not be done in such a way that they not only go through the Nigerian Police Academy or for Nigerian Police, the training school system. They will do their mandatory police training. They go into the Nigerian Army Depot, where they will also be able to learn about what the Nigerian military stands for, what they do, what their doctrine is about, a specially curated curriculum of the Nigerian Army that will be introduced to them, and also finally come to the DSS facility and have understanding of what intelligence is all about. This is what that is going to build. Number one, it will help them to understand how other agencies work. Two, it will help them to be able to know how to collaborate with other agencies. It will also help them to understand that Nigerian police cannot do the work alone. There are many aspects of what they think that they know, but the other agencies have the real strength in those areas, and there is need for collaboration. It will not help that over the years they'll be able to grow, crops of new leadership. I mean, potential leadership in Nigerian police that will understand how to work, build intelligence. But one of the major problems we have in Nigeria that security is not working is interagency's lack of cooperation. That synergy is not there. And you always say this when there is a new government, because each service chief wants to impress the commander-in-chief. And we're seeing that monster rearing his ugly head right now in Nigeria. That cooperation is not there as we speak right now. And as long as we continue to do the same thing over and over and over, we'll continue to get the same results.
Why is the collaboration difficult? I remember more than twice the previous commander-in-chief of the armed forces, President Muhammad Buhari, called meetings asking for interagency collaboration. Even this president has spoken about collaboration so frequently, like it's the only oil that will make the engine of state work. And so what is it that is making that collaboration difficult?
Number one, I think I still put it on the boxing stops on the desk of the president. It's not just about saying it or calling them to meeting. It's about putting monitoring mechanism in place to ensure that that is actually effective, and also make parameters for measuring their performance based on the level of cooperation. As in giving cooperation, optimal, this in the appraisal, of how I see that you are performing. It's not about you coming to say, oh, we've decimated this bandits. We've decimated. The DSS will do the work and say, okay, they've done this. The next thing you see, the army saying that they also decimated the same. You see the police, and then you still see the same group still carrying out, kidnappings and banditry attack maybe a day after or 48 hours after, this agency. So what have you decimated? The truth is that the DSS will be having the head and the body, the police will be having the hand, the Nigerian Army will be having the leg. And all of them are having different parts of the same, monster. And at the end of the day, you won't be able to aggregate all this intelligence or this information into one to be able to have, a strong and effective response that is expected. And that is the issue as we speak today. Everybody, they are struggling because they want to be seen to be working. And we should not forget this. Our doctrine, our training has a lot of problem, has a lot to do with this. Why? Because we have this protectionist ideology where everybody wants to protect his own agency. So when you are being trained, they tell you, oh, Nigerian Army is the best. Even within the armed forces, the army sees itself as the best and the most powerful. the Air Force, may not really agree with the, with the Nigerian Army, and you see some kind of, even within the armed forces, not to talk of, the Nigerian Army and the police. Nigerian Army, if you see a soldier, they don't want to listen, or they don't believe that they can be arrested by police, even when they have committed an offense. Even right before police officer, they try to arrest them, they resist. And if there's an attempt, you see some people moving soldiers from a barrack to attack a police station, because what? They feel that, no, you can't insult a captain because it's an officer. A lot has to do with our training, and we have to put it in the curriculum of each of these agencies for them to understand that you are just part of a total. You are not the total sum. You are not whole. Without all this agency, you are not complete. And they also need to understand the importance of this other agency. You see, when we're talking about policing, look at the issues that makes the headlines. Majorly now terrorism, banditry. Those are the issues that make headlines. These are the things that most times people see, and at some point now we are not really bothered anymore. The other issues that hardly make the headline, probably traffic robbery. Those are the major issues that an average people down south here are concerned about. By 6 p.m. now, you are driving in Lagos, you are in traffic, your concern is that, could there be a traffic robbery? Will everything that I possess now, will it be taken away from me? They are concerned. So, and these are not the things that one agency alone can do, because when the police want to fight, I saw the Inspector General of Police now talking about, cybercrime. Cybercrime is huge. It's bigger than armed robbery. Before, there was a time in Nigeria, major problem was armed robbery. Armed robbery is almost non-existent in Nigeria now, because the monies are not in the homes now. The monies are in the bank, and they are being done through the wire. And cybercrime is really, really big in Nigeria.
Okay.
Can the Nigerian police handle it? No. Look at the US, for example. It's the fault of the FBI, not the police. Because you need to actually build structural resources and assets to be able to do that. So the police cannot be running after traffic robbery, running after arson, running after affray, running after those who are trying not to obey traffic rules and the rest. And then they still also want to build capacity. Not that they are going to divorce, police will divorce itself from, but we need to really understand. So when police have people or reports of people, they should take it to, if there is an agency that has the capacity, take it to them, so that they can take what you have, add it to what they have. They can be able to build, robust response to that.
There are so many issues to look at. I'm looking at several issues that have made the headlines with people expected that it's the police that would take the lead, and unfortunately, it will seem like even the police sometimes is a victim.
Yeah.
So in a situation where the police is a victim, where is public trust? Because already, even as we speak, it will seem like the police doesn't have much confidence of the people. But a situation where even the police that is not trusted by the people is a victim.
Well, it's part of the hazard of the job, and one of the reasons why we must appreciate our police officers. You are stopping, just like look at the United States. When you see at times when you see police in the US, they say they are afraid of their own safety. That's why they fired first. Because you don't know what the other person is carrying. You've just received a call now and say there is an attack somewhere, you are going there. You don't even know whether there's going to be an ambush on the way. We've seen them being ambushed. So it's part of the hazard of the job. And we are not unaware of the fact that at times training has a lot to do with the occasion, exposure that they do put to themselves. Most times when you see those policemen being shot in their car, it's because they were relaxed. They were not vigilant, they are not attentive. And check, some of those policemen have not gone for training in the last 10 years.
Oh dear. Okay. Anyway, there's so many other issues. I'm pretty sure that Kayla has some of them as well. Kayla, go ahead.
Yes, indeed. I was just taking a look at the police WhatsApp group, the Nigerian Police Force WhatsApp group, just to see how much work has been done just between yesterday and today. The abandoned Prado Jeep that they found in the nation's capital. They smashed a kidnapping ring gang in Imo State. 4 kidnapped victims and 17 others arrested for murder. That's also making rounds on their WhatsApp group. The FCT police recovered an abandoned day-old baby. So that's just between yesterday and today. So in many ways, the police are doing quite a lot of work. But it does seem like there's there's an underlying problem. Yes, we've talked about the capacity of the police to handle all of these things. Their number has been an issue. Their remuneration has been an issue. But is there another problem? And I see many people alluding to the fact that, look, when it comes to policing a place, no matter how much policing you do, you cannot remove poverty from the land. You know, as long as people need to resort to crime, you know, you can't eliminate crime totally. But when it becomes the only other option for the person, how much more work can the police actually do? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Okay, to me, poverty is not an excuse for a police officer to become criminally minded. There are other civil servants, other government employees too, that are within the same salary range. And if everybody has to use poverty, then everybody will become criminal. I think more has to do with orientation, how we recruit the people that we currently have in the forces. So we need to look at the recruitment process. We need to look at the training. Then we also need to look at the internal control. I think because of the large number of the manpower within the Nigerian police, internal control is a very big issue. Very big issue in the sense that you see officers doing some things and their superior officers are not even aware. There's a case that I'm currently looking into with the SWAT team in Adeniji Adele. You know, what those officers did, what entirely wrong. I'm sure that the officer in charge of the SWAT team there is not even aware of what his men are doing. You know, and those are the issues because the numbers
just so we can get a correction. Hello, Mr. Adetayo.
Yeah.
I wasn't referring to the police officers themselves. I'm talking about the people that they're policing. I'm talking about the community and the poverty that is rife in those communities. Yes, I know that poverty is not an excuse. But if we have that underlying problem, how much work can the police actually do? Exactly.
So the more, you see, if you, some years ago, the former president, then President Olusegun Obasanjo, came up with what's called Grand Strategy for National Security. And I remember vividly that he tried to build nexus between law and order, economic development, and law and order. That without law and order, there cannot be economic development. Without economic development, there cannot be law and order. So if there is poverty in the land, the crimes and criminality will increase in its lips, and it will be difficult, or it will portend, you know, great challenges to the Nigerian police to be able to handle that. And that is the reason why they are also calling for increase in manpower. And I know that government is trying to meet up with that, which is also challenging because the government is not making enough money to meet up the budgetary requirement. But at the same time, where we need to now take care of this gap is what Ayo mentioned before, building trust, being able to work with the community. And I'm using this to also challenge the public relations department of the Nigerian police. I know my friend has been doing the first PRO. Muiwa has been doing a lot in that regard, but apart from Muiwa, there is this bright guy, I think he's in Delta Edo, and Benjamin in Lagos. I'm not really seeing much from other PPROs beyond coming to, you know, parade those who have been arrested. Now, let me give an example on how you can build trust. For example, the IGP has said that all checkpoints on the highways has been removed. But suddenly you are driving on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway or Shagamu Bini Expressway, and then you are seeing checkpoints. People will become afraid. The first question that will come to their mind is that, are these legal or are they illegal? Am I running into an ambush? And if the Commissioner of Police in that state had obtained approval from the IGP based on, you know, occurrences in a state, it's important for the PRO to actually release a bulletin to the people to say, because of so and so, the Nigerian Police, Ogun State Police Command, will be mounting roadblocks along. So when you see those roadblocks are legal. So when people are approaching, they expect that they will meet policemen on that road, and that will build trust. But when you don't do that, and people are driving and they get to a point and they see policemen, some of them will become agitated. And when they are stopping them, that's why you see all those altercations happening. Because to them, IGP have said roadblock dismantled. Then the next thing they are seeing roadblock. To them, they will believe that this are illegal. And in real sense, they might not be illegal. But so there is that break in communication between the Nigerian police and the people. So maybe more investment has to be made in public relations department, because the Nigerian police really need that department to be effective, to be up and doing, because it will help them to be able to build that trust and that responsibility. So which means that robust training has to go there. Let me tell you, in the US, if the police in the US are going to mount robot, they are going to release a bulletin. They are going to issue an APB if they are issuing, and the media will immediately take it up. You see it on Channel 7, Channel 6, and say that police are mounting roadblocks, they are searching because there is certain things. And roadblocks are not meant to be permanent. Even when you are announcing to them that there's going to be a roadblock on this highway between this area and this area, let them know whether it's going to be for 1 month or it's going to be for 3 weeks. If you are going to extend it, the public relations department should also still come out to tell the people, for certain reasons, we've gotten the approval of the Inspector General of Police to extend it. But when you don't do that, what the people will be saying is that the IGP is saying something and the policemen are doing something else. I'm just giving you an example. I have several examples abound, and I think that as much as we are underrating the importance of that department, they have a lot to do in bridging that trust gap between the people. When the people trust police enough, they will provide those information. You don't need to put policemen on every street in Nigeria. The people can do that legwork for the Nigerian police, and they can have that information because they themselves are informed. They know that police will not do anything without them being informed. So when they see something wrong, they tell them, no, this is wrong, and they know the number to call, they will call. Another thing that will also be there is that those that will be responsible for receiving this information from the people should also bring that element of trust, the trust of confidentiality, trust of source protection, so that people will know that whatever information that is being given will not be traced back to them.
I mean, that's a very important dynamic that you mentioned, that trust deficit. I mean, when we talk about the police, sometimes it feels like we're going round and round, like we say the same things over and over and over again. Manpower, funding, building trust with the people, capacity. I mean, we've been saying the same things over and over again. And like I pointed out earlier, we have seen the police do a lot of work, but more needs to be done. I mean, if we're looking at some of the things that happened over the weekend, for instance, the Mieti Alakatu breeders leader was killed in his state. You know, we still hear about kidnappings. In fact, we just, after the Minister of State for Defense announced that mining activities were going to kick off in Zamfara, we started getting reports from the miners there that they had been sent letters to the community saying, oh, we're going to attack this place. And when these things happen, we always look to the military as opposed to the police. Meanwhile, the truth is, for these sorts of things, the police is the first line that's supposed to handle that before we start to call for reinforcements. I mean, just so we don't say the same things over and over again, is there something else that can be done? What are we missing when it comes to effective policing, especially in state levels? Is it just these same things that we complain about all the time, or is there an underlying issue that hasn't been addressed?
I don't think that it has to do with, I think we have all the information needed. It's just about implementation. Another issue here is the issue that has been raised over time. It might have its own downside to it. That is the state police structure. But I'm a strong proponent for state policing, and because I believe that the police as we carry it today is humongous, and it is so big to be easily managed, and because of that, supervision, internal control becomes a major issue. Disciplinary structure, the disciplinary structure within the police is not devolved, you know, to the bottom, considering the large number of men. If this discipline can be initiated and completed at a division level, we're talking of divisions. Some divisions are having 200, 300 men. That is huge. One DPO managing such number. So if you can initiate discipline and hand disciplinary action at its level, then there will be effectiveness in internal control.
So you're looking at it, breaking it all down, devolving.
Yeah, because it is so big.
Absolutely.
It's hereby, disciplinary actions and measures will now be taken up again. it makes that supervision and effectiveness to be non-effective as much as we expect.
With the conversations that have gone on so far, let's just hope that at least it will be going to the next level now, as opposed to staying where we were. Thank you so much for this morning, Mr. Sheyi Adetayo, CEO of Eons Intelligence. Well, some messages for about a minute before we go. This one is from Adekoye Fetuga, who was talking about our chat. Says, in road construction, let's prioritize non-metallic manhole covers made of composite materials like fiberglass or polymer composites, high-density polythene, that's HDPE, and or other plastics. They are resistant to corrosion, theft-resistant, and lightweight. It seems Professor Enakana weighed in on the same issue, Kayla.
He says the vandalism of these manhole covers will continue if this metal dealers market is not closed. It is disheartening that while the government at all levels spends public funds to provide amenities for Nigerians, some criminally minded individuals steal these amenities and sell them to dubious traders by disregarding the danger their actions pose to their fellow citizens. And Festus Akimboyewa has this message. He says, sadly, I think he's talking politics here, sadly, it is evident that many people in our political parties, especially the big ones, don't have similar ideas and beliefs, which is why they blatantly jump from one party to another. Time to sanitize our political parties. Thank you all so much for your messages there. And that's what we'll wrap it up on Sunrise Daily today. Have a great week ahead. Be safe, be careful, be mindful of those manhole covers that have been stolen over the past week or so, especially in the central business district of the nation's capital, while we get the FCT minister to do the right thing about that situation. Have a great week ahead. I'm Kayla Megwa.
And I'm Ayo Makine. You have a pleasant one.